Hello everybody, welcome to another Rick's Picks. Today I'm going to be doing my review of the Masters of the Universe Multiverse figure, Whiplash, who is part of the New Eternia line by Mattel. So, without any further ado, let's get to the review. So here he is in packaging. I like the overall look to it. You got your standard Masterverse packaging here. So you got the blue fading into the black. You got 30 points of articulation, your skew, Masterverse. All right. You got a window here so you can see the figure with all his accessories. Masters of the Universe New Eternia, Whiplash, Mattel. Then around this way, you got Whiplash, Tail Thrashing Warrior. All right. Come around to this side here. Get some pretty nice artwork for him. To my standards, it could be better, but for what it is, I guess it's good enough for this figure. So you have Masters of the Universe New Eternia up there. A little bit about the character. Everybody else who's part of this lineup. And the Mattel logo. Come around here. You get a pretty good profile picture of him. How his standard look. So how he looked with the original line. So I do like that they did that. All right, back around this way. Underneath you have your legal. And it also shows how to attach the tail. So, with all that being said, let's open him up and see what he's about. So here he is out of packaging. So far he has a nice profile to him. I like the overall look to him. So we're going to start out with his points of articulation. So first off, the head does move. So you do get some good head movement. Got the shoulder joints here. Okay. Your elbow joint. Your wrist joint. Get these arms up. Got it. Well, his torso joint here, right here at the hips. And you also have a joint here underneath the ribs. All right. Yeah, get a little bit more twist into that. Coming down to his legs. So you got the thigh joint, the swivel in there as well. All right. Knee joints. A little bit stiff, but they do move. All right. You got a swivel right here. And an ankle joint. All right. Now you come around to the back. You have his tail, which you get a swivel right here. And the tail itself is bendy. But the nice thing about the tail is I did add the tail on to him. It comes off, very easily. Pops on and off. See? No issues. But I wanted to put the tail on it because it helps balance out the figure. So that way you don't have to use any kind of stands with him, which is really nice. All right. So now let's start taking an overall look at this guy. So first off, let's look at the head sculpt. The head sculpt's pretty cool. You have that classic Whiplash style face. It's a little bit thinner than the original figure, but it's still a cool looking head sculpt. I like the overall look to it. All right. Straighten him out just a little bit more for you guys. So then you get into his body. His body looks pretty much like the original figure, updated and modified a little bit, but it still has the general look. So you got the darker green body with the lighter color arms and legs. So I do like that. They gave his skin like a scale pattern, which is nice. Gives him more of a reptile look. And he has all the little spikes and stuff like the original figures did. So you can see down his arms and his legs. Now, the one thing I find interesting about him is the feet. So you look at these feet. I think they look a little weird. They look more like bird feet instead of reptile feet. I don't know if that's by design or what, but I found the feet a little bit interesting looking. So give them the rotation. So now you're looking at this side here. You can look at those feet a little bit more. And the legs, they gave it like a blue wash here, which is pretty nice. You can see these spikes coming down his legs, similar to the original figure. All right, come around to the back. He has that more alligator design coming down his back, which is really nice. I like how they have the spikes coming up the sides and one in the center. I think that looks pretty cool. Come around to this side. You can see the arm down. You can see more of those spikes within the arm and stuff, which is really nice. And his arm gauntlet. And back around to the front. So now let's start taking a good look at his accessories. So first off, he comes with 2 closed fists. He has this one here. And this one. All right. He comes with a helmet. Kind of like the design to this helmet. I think this helmet looks kind of cool. All right. An axe. He also comes with a torch, which is kind of cool because I know he's supposed to be from Subterranea. So it's pretty neat that they gave him a torch. All right. He also comes with his iconic spear. All right. Some armor. And then armor for the lower torso. So we're going to start putting this stuff on him. Now, usually this stuff is pretty easy to get on him. I might have to take the tail off to get this piece on him, actually. All right. Almost got that on there. Just got to get through the little hoop. All right. Boom. That is now almost on. All right. So boom. That piece is on. No issues. Got to pop his head off to get this second piece on. Just like that. All right. That side went on pretty easily. And that side went on pretty well. Click that back in. Put his head on. Alright, that's the armor. Now I might as well put the helmet on him too. So the armor goes on him pretty well. Let's give him a rotation so you can see the armor. Alright. So that works very well with him. Now let's start going through his weapon. So we're going to do the torch. Alright. Works into his hand pretty well. And now the battle axe. Axe does have a little bit of a pummel, but it seems to want to slide into his hand fairly easily. So now you have the torch and the battle axe. Alright. So those work very well with him. No issues. Alright. Last is the spear. Now the spear is the easier one to get in his hands just because there's no pummel at the bottom of it. So it just slides right in. No issues with the spear. So now that we looked at all the weapons with them, let's see how these alternate hands work with them. All right. Oh, that's tight. Oh, there it goes. Oh, all right. So those hands didn't want to come off. Now, if you want to, the gauntlets do come off. So if you want them without the gauntlets, you can do that as well. All right, let's get this fist in. Damn. These hands are really hard to get in here. Oh, there you go. Yeah, those are a bit hard to get in. You may even want to use heat on the wrists. You know, normally with these new Eternia figures, I don't have any issues getting hands in like that. But with a little bit of work, they did wind up going in. So I have no issues with that. Now let's get into my final thoughts with this guy. So overall, his joints work pretty well. There's a little bit of stiffness in the joints, but you know, nothing really major. As for his accessories, all his weapons fit very well in his hands. Didn't have any issues there, but I did have issues swapping out the hands. They're very tight, which I find kind of odd because usually, you know, the Masters and the Universe Masterverse figures, all their stuff swaps out pretty easily. But his were, you know, really, really tight. You may want to use a little bit of hot water or heat to, you know, soften up the plastic when you switch the hands around. But if you're not doing it that often, just work it a little bit. They eventually come out. So that's probably my biggest issue with this figure. His overall look, I do like the overall look to him. I like the factor that you could take the armor off and then you could have pretty much your classic Whiplash, or you can have him with all the armor on and then he has like this whole warrior look to him. So I like the overall look to him. So at the end of the day, would I recommend this figure? Yes, I would. I think he's really cool looking. I think he'd be a good addition to your new Eternia line of figures and what have you. So with that being said, I hope you guys did like this review. If you did, go ahead and check out my Masters of the Universe playlist and hit that like, share, and subscribe. They're all small clicks for you, but it really helps this channel grow. So until the next one, late.